In this episode, Bart and I invited PhD candidate Daniela Buchwald from the German Primate Center. We compare how the University of Göttingen and the German Primate Center responded to the impending shutdown of most research activities. And we focus on how the animals are being cared for. This episode was recorded on Tuesday, March 17, just after the German local government began to take serious action to reduce public life in order to slow the spread of SARS coronavirus 2, the virus that causes COVID-19. Remember that when we talk about news reaching us on Monday, we mean yesterday at the time of the recording. As always, the full conversation is available to patrons on www.patreon.com/sci4progress. If you are already supporting us, thank you very much. It really helps. It's the only income for this podcast. I'm your host, Dennis Eckmeyer, and you're listening to episode 45 of Science for Societal Progress. Hey Bart, how you doing?
Hey Dennis, I'm at home, as most people are, I guess.
Aren't you always at home when we're recording?
No. I'm usually in my lab when we are recording.
What? But we are recording like in the middle of the night.
Yeah, but that's usually when I'm in my lab and have time.
All right. So how is the social distancing working for you?
Yeah, at the moment I could also be a bit social distance for my son in puberty. That would be also quite cool. I found bad things in his jacket today. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading cards. I did the right thing.
Right.
I directly went to Games Shop, bought a new pack of magic cards and said, "We have to talk, son. We have to talk."
Nice. So you're not sending them to your grandmother, to their grandmother?
No, I don't want to kill my mother.
So do you have any special plans for the time now?
I'm going to finish all the writing that I never finish when I'm in the lab. Promise. On a stack of David's papers.
So that's a good thing.
I actually even have an open paper with today's guest.
Oh, who's our guest?
Our guest is Daniela Buchwald, or soon to be Dr. Daniela Buchwald, who actually had to not postpone, but prepone her PhD thesis.
So it was scheduled earlier?
Yeah, exactly. So I was supposed to defend on the 26th of March. And on the 12th of March, my PA said, "I have a crazy idea. How about you defend tomorrow?" And I thought he was kidding me, but he really put a lot of effort into that, and that actually happened. So I defended on the 13th instead, 2 weeks earlier.
Wow. So actually the whole thing made you become a doctor quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. How did it go?
Quite well, yeah. Questions went not as smoothly as they would have went 2 weeks later, probably, but I got a magna cum laude, and I think I can be happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. What was it about?
I'm investigating grasping movements in monkeys, and I trained a monkey to grasp an object that he either saw or touched before, and then we just looked at the planning movement period before the planning period before the movement.
What is happening there? The planning period? So the monkey decides to grasp something, and then something happens, and that's the planning period?
So he was sitting in the setup, and then either he could see an object or he could touch an object, had to go back, and then there was a certain delay, which we call the planning period. And then after this planning period, he reached out and lifts the object up and gets a reward to doing that. And with that delay period, you can see how the patterns in the brain really change. And I compared if it is different for visual and tactile grasp, which actually is the case to a certain degree.
Visual grasp?
Yeah, based on visual information. So when you saw the object compared to when you touched the object before.
And where's the difference? Which part of the brain are you looking at?
We looked at motor cortex, premotor cortex, parietal cortex, which is more responsible for visual information, and somatosensory cortex. And we could find some differences, of course, in the planning areas. So premotor cortex mainly.
Cool. Okay. So you're both at the same university. How did the university respond to the COVID-19 pandemic?
So actually we're not at the same institute. Daniela is at the Deutsche Primatenzentrum, which is the German Primate Center, and I'm part of the university. I think the German Primate Center is its own institution, isn't it?
Yeah, it is its own private institution.
Oh, okay. So let's start with the university.
I got official notice from the university on Monday. We already had a meeting on Friday, but that was more or less informal, and our department leader informed us again of like all the things that we should and shouldn't do, like wash your hands, keep a bit of distance to other people. If you feel sick, go to the doctor, stay at home, inform us if you are infected with the coronavirus, etc., etc. But literally up to Monday morning, there was basically no information and no planning done to cope with the situation.
Wow. So what did they say on Monday then? Just don't come in anymore?
On Monday morning, we got an email from the president who said, basically, if you can do home office, organize the department so that you can stay afloat, and that's it. And we directly had a meeting, made some plans. We luckily have only a few animals depending on us. That would be a few electric fish that live in our fish tanks for presentation purposes, and a lot of flies. We've swapped into large food vials so that they can stay alive for a longer time. And then we exchanged some telephone numbers and basically brought everybody up to speed that they should stay at home.
So you don't need a technician to come in to check on the flies for 3 weeks?
So 3 weeks is like the absolute maximum.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks would be already a long-term version, but we can put them into an 18-degree incubator. That means 18 degrees Celsius in this case. And then they stay alive for a long time, don't need much food, and you basically wait up a whole generation and then you flip them again into new food vials.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. What about the fish? I mean, I was working with mice, and you have to attend to them every day.
Basically, that's the case for the fish as well. And there we made just a plan when people come in and feed them.
And is that one technician, or is that people from the lab who do that?
I think the fish thing is mixed. I'm not involved in that, so I'm not up to speed who's really working on that. We thought about everybody getting in shifts for flipping the flies if we really have to stay longer at home than those 2 weeks. But then Dr. Hillard and I decided that we just flip the whole stock together so that none of the students have to come in, and we are together in the lab. Will take like about a day, but we can manage that.
So how is it going at the Primate Center then?
Yeah, so for university, it's actually most crazy for me that I heard until the 20th of April, no more defenses will happen. So I really slid into a very tight window there of being able to do my defense. But German Primate Center overall communication was a lot better. At the start of March, we got the first emails of what you should do, hygiene, wash your hands, all that. And from the infection biology unit, Professor Stefan Pöllmann actually gave a talk for all the DPZ employees where he talked about the different types of viruses that are known and what is different to this one. And we really had a educational event there for all employees.
DPZ stands for German Primate Center. In German, it's called Deutsches Primatenzentrum.
And then for everyone who couldn't attend that, there was an email that summarized everything that was said there. So we really had a lot of information from start of March. A few days later, we also got emails that basically said we should prepare for the case that DPZ might shut down. Not that it shut down now. And then we also started to make sure, okay, we have a lot of monkeys to care for. What are the plans there? What would we do in worst case? How do we organize the home offices? And it was all basically set up. And then today, basically, the email came, okay, now we will go also basically in very limited mode. And the idea is for the animal caretaking that we have 2 different shifts that come in bi-weekly. So that basically 1 week, one team is working with the animal and the other week the other team. And with that, we not only can follow who had contact with whom, because we have these teams, but more importantly, we also know who did not have contact with another group. So when a certain caretaker gets sick, you know exactly who he was in contact with and who you can call because they weren't in contact with them. And you still have someone to rely on to take care of the animals. And our department also basically went with this plan, and we made different shifts to take care of our implanted animals, because you need to look after the implants that the animals are healthy. And we follow this lead, and then also we can say, okay, a certain person was in contact with these caretakers, but not that ones, and you can really follow through and have a plan. What is if someone really catches the virus, who can still take care of the animals?
How many animals do you have to care for?
DPZ has around 1,000 animals, and our department, it's like 12 of them. So for us, it's not too much work, but of course the caretakers now have a lot of monkeys to care for, but it's all organized. I think the monkeys will be fine.
By the way, before I get fired from my position, our university actually sent also emails with general information, but we had no concrete plans that I know of before Monday.
It's crazy because it wasn't really a surprise, right? I mean, at least at the start of March, it's a possibility. So it's really weird that no plans were at least like thought of, and it's now all being from scratch made.
On the other hand, we can quite quickly deal with the problems of the flies, but I totally agree we should have had plans in motion already from March on. Is there any possibilities that the monkeys get the same virus as we do?
I've seen a paper, I haven't read it yet. They can get the virus, apparently. They get some respiratory symptoms. They apparently don't cough it much, but the lungs are infected. But they also can survive it and then get immune. Actually, today that's all over Twitter that like, okay, monkeys get immunity, so hopefully we also get immunity. So they might be infected, so we really are careful there too.
Is there generally a lot of cross-infections between monkeys and us?
Since we are quite closely related, it can happen. So if you go in there with a cold and you don't keep your standards up, I mean, you're supposed to wear these masks that at least make it hard for you to infect the monkeys, because otherwise they might also catch a cold or a flu from you. So that can happen because we're closely related.
Didn't you watch Outbreak, Bart? They get the same illnesses that we do.
No, I never watched that.
Actually, me neither, but I know the plot.
Can you still do experiments at the moment?
Our department will not have any experiments with animals that do not yet have implants, because it's just not necessary and it puts the monkey at an extra risk. We have a single animal that has brain implants where we decided that for now the experiment will keep running, because these implants, of course, get a bit worse over time. They hold like up to 4 years, so every day is sacred and important for that. And we personally think the monkey might benefit more from having the recording done as soon as possible, because then also you might be able to remove the implants instead of just having him free, and then you need an extra period of him relearning the task, which is a bit other cost benefit evaluation. But basically we take this by the week. So every week it could be that we say the situation is so worse and it's not handleable. We will now also take the single animal out of the experiment, but all others are free.
But that means that they might lose their training over time?
Usually they do not forget it completely, but of course, if they had free for a long time, the motivation might be a bit lower and they might not remember every single detail of the task. So I had a monkey, he was free for, I think, 3 months. And when I put him back into the setup, he kind of remembered that he has to graph the object, but he seemed to have forgotten that there's a certain go cue that he has attention to. So he was just grabbing and trying to do the task, but needed some time to remember, okay, there's also this cue that I need to look at.
This time delay that you're now facing because of retraining and doing more experiments or having to redo experiments, is this going to be covered by the expenses of the DPZ, or is there already maybe a financial plan to cover for this?
I'm not aware what exactly the plan there is. I actually can't tell you who's covering that. I mean, to a certain degree, our animals are anyway, because they live at DPZ and they're bred by DPZ and also they are paid for by DPZ. I'm not sure if there's any compensation for delays and maybe extended contracts or something. I think this is something we have to decide later on, because now it's quite new. We don't know how long does it take, what exactly is the outcome.
Although that the animals might take precedence in our thoughts, I also thought about like the PhD students. You were now basically saved by the bell, But what about other PhD students? They might face really a prolonged PhD period. And as far as I remember, your PhDs are not short anyways.
Yeah, of course. So, from the grad school, we usually have 3 years to finish the PhD, and then you can extend 2 times half a year, which usually we all take because training an animal takes a lot of time. We're, of course, not forcing the animals into something, so they really get time to do the experiment, which takes extra time, which then delays the whole PhD. I'm not entirely sure what is the solution is there either, if university will give us some benefits there, and maybe because you might be able to extend half a year extra because if you can argue that this delayed your PhD by a lot. I'm not entirely sure.
3 years is kind of tight though, right? I mean, I would imagine that working with monkeys is taking extra long. And I remember when I was a PhD student, we were only, in quotation marks, working with smaller animals and insects. And we all took like 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, I think it's also a bit short. It's, of course, like this one-size-fits-all grad school. They say 3 years for everyone, period. And then you can extend. I think a single person actually extended further than those 4 years because they could argue that the training took longer. But it is quite tight. I mean, it's also, of course, a bit the question how the examiners see that in the defense and in the written thesis. So your emphasis would be more on, I trained this animal, I have this complex task and all, and you don't have to deliver like finished results, how it might be expected in other works where it's easier to finish in time. So I think this is then the compensation for that. But it also means that often, so I will now stay a few more months at DPZ to really finish up because my project is not done. My PhD is done, but not my project. Mm-hmm. So I basically have to extend further. It's just that now I can soon carry my title, but the project needs to be published and finished and all that.
What's your plans afterwards?
That's, of course, another problem, right? So I'm planning to stay in academia. So my plans were to now go on a lot of conferences and network and maybe score a postdoc position there. But now all the conferences are canceled. So I also need to think about how will I reach out to PIs now. I mean, I can, of course, email them, but it's not the same than in person. But it's probably all I can do for now.
Right. That's another thing I was thinking about. So I think it's very reasonable that at the Primate Center, you don't have to have publications before you graduate. But there are many institutes where this is expected. So you're not even allowed to graduate without publications.
Yeah.
So do you think it'll be harder for you to find a postdoc position because you don't have these publications yet?
So of course, depends how much I stay inside this field. But primate people are usually aware that it takes a long time. And if I tell like an American, my PhD took 4 years, they're often like, how did you do that? So they don't even understand how that worked. So I don't think they will be surprised if I don't have a publication out of that because they realize that this is not what they are used for, where they have PhDs for 7 or 8 years and then more publications because there's more to work with.
The main reason it's taking them longer is because they don't do a master's before they start their PhD.
Of course.
Are there actually other countries that you could go to except of the US that do your kind of monkey science?
I hear China works well.
Yeah, of course. I can go to Nicoleles to China now, the cool new campus there.
Daniela misspoke here. Miguel Nicoleles is a neuroscientist famous for his research on brain-machine interfaces, and he actually also works with monkeys. But she meant Nikos Logothetis, former director at a Max Planck Institute. He endured attacks from radical animal rights activists who falsely claimed mistreatment of monkeys in his facility. In the aftermath, he complained about lack of support by the Max Planck Society and announced to shut down his research on non-human primates. Recently, he announced his plans to move to China to continue his research, avoiding both radical activists and Max Planck's mandatory retirement policy.
But we also have, of course, in Europe, monkey labs. Kind of depends what you want to do. So there's a lot of vision labs in the UK. France has one. Italy has monkey labs. Switzerland. So there's a lot of options of course, all a bit of different brain area. So I'm mostly interested in somatosensory cortex. That narrows it down quite a bit. Maybe I have to switch there. I have to see. But I also heard that most of them are also shut down now to protect their animals or because they are locked down, depending on which country you talk about. So it's not just us.
And what's your plan for the lockdown? Are you writing now up papers, or I've seen you handed in an abstract to a very famous special issue?
Yeah, I will write a methods paper about the task of my monkey. So hopefully that will all turn out quite cool. I, of course, have to publish my actual thesis, so I have to write a revision. I can do that with a university library. As far as I know, it's still open. I have to send it in per mail instead of going there in person. But last I checked, you can still hand them in, which would be a requirement here to actually get my title. Otherwise, I have to see. We now have the plan. We were planning to do a conference paper about a conference, so go there and write a summary, and we had a deal with a journal that wanted to publish that. We now try to see if maybe instead we could do kind of a what we missed paper, but it's still open if that will work out or not. But yeah, basically a lot of writing, maybe analyze some more data. I have VPN access to my computer at work, so I should be able to get some work done there too.
And other than that, I mean, do you still go out?
No, I'm in one of the teams that is responsible to take care of the implanted monkeys, so I try to be extra sensitive where I'm going and where not, so that I stay healthy and that I can't make the monkeys sick per accident. So I will basically just be at home, play video games, be on the internet, work on becoming famous on Twitter or something.
That's a good plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's kind of a back and forth on Twitter where they're like, oh, I'm an introvert. This doesn't faze me at all. And the extroverts are like, somebody help me. I'm going crazy over here.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my colleagues actually wrote that his neighbor has a big party now because apparently he can't go without, which sounds like a horrible idea. But yeah, apparently some people prefer that over staying home and not getting sick.
Yeah, it's a bit different if you have kids at home. You have to somehow... So one of the things that you have to do is this homeschooling task, which brought my boys to calling me General Gerton. My wife luckily just declined to do that and went back into her office and just worked through the day. So today I did like a 1950s Stratwives day, which I crowned off by making a cake in the afternoon while working on on a paper.
Cool.
And my wife said, like, she totally can see what's the appeal of that, as long as she wouldn't be female in that kind of world. But she could totally see her partner staying at home and making cakes, looking after children. And I said, yeah, well, you can F yourself. I'm not going to do that.
And what about teaching? I hear some universities are able to switch to digital online teaching. Are you able to do that?
I think so. So tomorrow I will have a lab report presentation with the whole class on different lab reports from the IMPRS school. This will go over a video meeting software, and we will all see the slides, and then we can comment. I believe that's actually a pretty good way to do it. Generally, I have to say that staying at home, getting everybody to finally use all the digital media that is now possible, actually will drive the evolution of digital working in Germany into a new stage. At the moment in Germany, presence work is a very important thing.
Mm-hmm.
So bosses want their employees in their offices. But you find out that a lot of things you could do without actually traveling to your workplace or traveling to certain conferences, just by the new media that makes it possible. And I hope that if there's any beneficiary output of that homestay period, then it would be that we now can start using more digital media and have more home offices in Germany, especially my wife, who's as a group leader, manager in the Fraunhofer institution, says that this is basically a dream come true. She always tried to get more people to work on the digital side of Fraunhofer, and now they do.
Sometimes it needs a bit of pressure.
Creative destruction, it's called.
Yeah.
What made me really sad is that actually we have quite low blood donations at the moment in Germany, and I digged out my old blood donation pass from the University of Cologne, and
Cologne. That's been a while.
Yeah, I can show you the photo that I used there. That could be a great cover photo for this one. One of my students said, "This looks like my oldest son." It was quite hurtful, man. It was quite hurtful. Anyway, I found out I can't donate blood anymore because of medication issues. But if you still can do that, I would totally encourage every one of our listeners to donate blood in these periods, because many people don't go out anymore and many people can't make it to the blood donation anymore. And it's a quite easy thing to do, and it helps the people in the hospitals a lot.
So the blood donation things are still open, although it's a congregation or of people.
Oh, they want to be called first so that they can handle the people, so that there will be no queues.
Okay.
And they have enough spaces to actually separate the beds wide enough so that there's no cross-contamination. And if some people in the world are very clear about hygiene standards, it's the people in the transfusion departments of the medicine buildings.
Yeah. Did you ever go, Daniela?
No, I didn't, because there was also some problems with medical issues. I'm also now locked for 4 months, but then I might start doing it, because I checked again and I'm now allowed to donate blood if I wait these 4 months. So I encourage everyone who can donate now to do that, and I will also, as soon as I can, start doing it.
So I financed quite a lot of my studies with blood donations. I started donating thrombocytes. And my sons were quite impressed by the numbers of times that I was at a blood donation. You can still see it in my pass. I needed the money, and I was young.
If you want to learn more about my work, you can also follow me on Twitter. The handle is @littleprimate. And now that I'm home more, I will probably tweet more about my work and other people's works. Hopefully interesting stuff for you all.
That's great. I follow you for a long time, and I'm always enjoying your tweets.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Daniela, especially on such short notice. We just called you in the afternoon, and you were ready to jump in and help us understand how coronavirus is dealt with in the DPZ, and especially thanks to the DPZ for sending you out to talk to us.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
You're welcome. I enjoyed being here. Thank you for inviting me and having me. And of course, we are all kind of have a lot of free time now since we're working from home. So I think it's a good time to give interviews and podcasts and do other scientific outreach.
Absolutely. That's what I tell everybody too. It's good to know that the animals are taken care for properly during these days. And while remaining socially distant, please still get in contact and send your questions, comments and suggestions to info@scienceforprogress.eu and follow us on Twitter @sciforprogress. And if you like this episode, please give us a 5-star rating or even a review on your podcast app. These things really help. I thank you very much for listening. Stay home, stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, listener.
Goodbye.